Here is the breakdown of these popular youth fiction matchup book series. Note, while John Allen wrote the Prehistoric Battles and Epic Animal Matchups books, the Epic Motor Matchups series was actually penned by author Jackson Hayes. Both series are published under the same umbrella by Grey Duck Creative Works. 1. Epic Animal Matchups by John Allen. This 12-book series pits famous predators and heavyweights from around the world against each other to see who would claim the crown in their respective habitats. Matchup: Battle Arena Title. Key combatants: Lion vs. Tiger. Big Cat Brawl. The King of Beasts versus the Stealthy Slayer. Great White versus Killer Whale. Showdown at Sea. The Terrible Torpedo versus a Wolf of the Sea. Grizzly Bear versus Polar Bear. Battle of the Bears. The Fierce Protector versus the Seal Shredder. Crocodile versus Hippo. River Rumble. The Toothy Tyrant versus the Territorial Titan. Elephant versus Rhino. Clash of the Titans. The Tusked Titan versus the Horned Heavyweight. Gorilla versus Leopard. Jungle War. The Showy Silverback versus the Treetop Terror. Honey Badger versus Hyena. Scrap in the Savannah. The Strong Savage versus the Cackling Carnivore. Anaconda versus Jaguar. Amazon Ambush. The Giant Constrictor versus the Leaping Killer. Cougar versus Wolf. Cat and Dog Fight. The Silent Stalker versus the Alpha Dog. King Cobra versus Komodo Dragon. Hissing Fit. The Hooded Villain versus the Salivating Attacker. Tasmanian Devil versus Wolverine. Bad Attitude Beatdown. The Mean Maniac versus the Feared Fugitive. Deathstalker, Scorpion versus Funnel Web Spider. Attack of the Arachnids. The Stinging Striker versus the Webmaster. 2. Prehistoric Battles by John Allen. This massive 20-book series explores theoretical face-offs between Mesozoic dinosaurs, Ice Age giants, and ancient marine reptiles. Land giants and dinosaurs. Spinosaurus versus Tyrannosaurus. Allosaurus versus Giganotosaurus. Triceratops versus Stegosaurus. Ankylosaurus versus Tarbosaurus. Brachiosaurus versus Argentinosaurus. Saber-toothed cat versus direwolf. Giant short-faced bear versus woolly mammoth. Velociraptor versus Pachycephalosaurus. Utahraptor versus Deinonychus. Styracosaurus versus Sauropelta. Brontotherium versus Elasmotherium. Entelodon versus Andrewsarchus. Ancient Seas and Skies. Megalodon versus Mosasaurus. Supercroc versus Titanoboa. Dacosaurus versus Basilosaurus. Liopleurodon versus Dunkleosteus. Elasmosaurus versus Ichthyosaurus. Caprisuchus versus Archelon. Pteranodon versus Quetzalcoatlus. Dimetrodon versus Arizonosaurus. 3. Epic Motor Matchups by Jackson Hayes. Instead of teeth and claws, this 6-book series compares horsepower, torque, and track capability in simulated races. Chevrolet Corvette Z06 versus Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. Enzo Ferrari versus Lamborghini Aventador SVJ. Chevrolet Camaro ZL11 LE versus Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat Redeye. Ford F-150 Raptor versus Ram 1500 Rebel. Ford Bronco Badlands versus Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. Ford Focus RS versus Subaru WRX STI.